Hello, I'm Nathan Leahy and welcome to Next Week in Gaming. So first up next week we have a sale on Tuesday the 22nd of December, and this is obviously the Steam Winter Sale. Now this is a little bit different from the past few years. Obviously we've had the Steam Autumn, Spring, Easter, Winter, the Fall, the Halloween sale. We've had tons of stuff like that over the years and they've all been relatively similar, except this time around there won't be any daily deals and there won't be any flash deals either. So this Winter Sale, I'm not 100% sure how they're going to go about it really, because if there's nothing like that to get excited about, a lot of the point of the Steam sale was to generate people clicking on the website or the Steam client repeatedly over and over again throughout the day and get their traffic up. But it seems like they've just sort of knocked that on the head, and I don't even know whether they're going to do like a click game that they did on one of the last sales. It might have been the summer sale where you just click incessantly. So honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen with this new winter sale. It almost feels like they're winding down a bit and just sort of going a little bit casual with their sales. So who knows? It could introduce a couple of new features, a couple of new shiny things that Steam's perhaps going to test for the first time around, but initially, it sounds like the winter sale is going to be a bit bland. Although, to be fair, I do own pretty much every game I would want, so there isn't really an awful lot I would actually want to buy anyway. But hopefully, everyone will get their wallets out. So our first release on Monday the 21st of December, one of the few games that is coming out next week, is by Roaming Ground Studio. This is called Unsummoning the Spectral Horde. This is a nice little mishmash between sort of the spellcasting and magicka, and also a heavy focus on puzzle. So in this game you're playing the main antagonist and protagonist, a bit of a bastard necromancer, except his minions have turned on him. Now in this game you kind of roam across these 10 levels across the campaign. There's also an arcade mode as well, and you have to move over these tiles which will correspond to enemies, so they'll match enemies. And what you can do is you can run around all these levels and there'll be these tiles or sigils as they call them all over the floor. You stand on them and you can cast a spell at that enemy and it will prove to be effective. Also what you can do is you can roam around quite a number of these different tiles and chain up spells together for more powerful stuff. So it's quite a fresh concept and quite an interesting concept. And also for those who aren't 100% about the spell casting, there is a little bit of sword melee stuff going on there. So for one of the few games coming out on Christmas, it's actually pretty damn interesting. So the next title is coming out sometime at the end of 2015. This is by Leonard Menchiari, I hope I've said that correctly, and it's being published by Merge Games, the people who published Shopkeep and Commandos, some of the new Commandos titles. This is a game called Riot Civil Unrest, and this is putting you in the sort of position of both sides of the party. So you've got the Riot Police and you've also got the Rioters. Now this game is spread across like a largish campaign, but there's also some other modes as well, and multiplayer, because obviously there's two sides, and it's set across some actual riots that happened in the past, some of the famous ones in Italy and stuff like that. And basically you have like this moral versus achievement basis. It's a real-time strategy game, and you know, as the police you can either use smoke grenades to disperse crowds and use sort of passive means, but there are also aggressive things as well, like rubber bullets, and in some cases you can use live ammunition as well. So it's quite a gritty title. If you look at the pixel art, they've made it surprisingly realistic despite the sort of plainish graphics. It does look very gritty and could potentially get relatively emotional like This War of Mine. And then on the other side of the camp you've also got the rioters, so you can organise those people, incite chaos, and even use the media as your weapon as well. So I'm hoping this game is not only going to be entertaining, but also it might prove to be a bit of an eye-opener as to what it's like to be on both sides of the party, being told what to do and both having contrasting, goals in mind. So hopefully this one will be a nice one for the Christmas holiday. So this next title is supposedly releasing sometime at the end of 2015, but the release date's a bit up in the air and it might not release and it might get pushed back a little bit. But it's being developed by one chap from Team Hitbox and a small group of other people as well, and it's called Daggers. Now I saw this on RPS and thought, hey, that looks pretty interesting. I can imagine there are a select few sort of old school shooter veterans. Now this is called like a circular strafer game, very much like the original Doom in terms of graphics. It's got like those jaggies back when anti-aliasing wasn't really a thing and everything had really sort of cut angles. And this game is just like a very, very fast-paced shooter. You're roaming around and shooting these fiery daggers, and the palette that they've used for the colour game, the first thing I thought was, wow, this looks like Rage incarnate in a game. Not the awful one by ID Software, but this looks genuinely quite entertaining. It's quite a simple, solid affair. It's just a survival title where you're basically trying to get the highest score on the leaderboard. It's got nothing in terms of campaign or anything serious like that. It's just on Steam Greenlight at the moment. It might be released sometime soonish, and it's just a quite a hardcore, simplistic title. And I mean, if Flashquake still exists and Quake Live still exists, I can imagine there's a fair few people lining up to get their hands on this game. So on to our review title for next week, which will be published on Thursday the 24th of December. A nice review for you guys to watch and read on Christmas Eve. And that's going to be Shadow Complex Remastered. Now the reason for doing this was A, I didn't play it in 2009 when it came out, and it got pretty good reviews. So, you know, it's just going to be a nice enjoyable title for me to wind down with, make for our last review of the year, and just have a bit of fun with. And also, it just looks like just such an incredibly good side-scroller. I haven't seen a side-scroller that made me that interested in some of the alternative mechanics that they've used since, you know, games like Trine. But this title's been reimagined in Unreal Engine 3, and of course it is free for the holidays. So by the time the review releases, you guys should still have around about a week to play it. Download it for free on the Unreal Engine launcher. You can download it now to play, but you can of course wait for our review back then. This is going to be the last review of the year because I'll be taking a little bit of time off, probably about a week. So this will be the last review of the year. So that's it from us at NextPowerUp. Join us next week on Thursday for our weekly review and our final review for the year. And this is, of course, the last Next Week in Gaming episode for the year as well. We will be joining you back in January in the new year. I'm just taking a week off from about the 24th to the 1st-ish. So there'll be a new Next Week in Gaming and a new review ready for you in the first week of January, provided some interesting stuff releases and we, you know, get game keys. So we hope you enjoyed it over the last year. Obviously, things will improve as we go along, and yeah, see you guys in the new year. Hope you enjoy your Christmas and, of course, have a safe and pleasant new year.